9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Latina Diaspora. Well, here on this platform, we discuss issues pertaining to Latinos living YouTube channel, which is called Uncommon Sense with host Andy Grown, where I discuss everyday issues and we try to find logical solutions. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube and Facebook. Also, subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes, meaning if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who've already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or recently joined, I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to those who follow me on social media devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. As you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is surviving the breakup. Unfortunately, there comes times when in a romantic relationship where the relationship ends either because one party don't want to continue the relationship or both parties mutually agree to end it. And of course, it can get messy at times. And also, there's maybe some scars that needs healing. So I'm going to share basically um, my own personal experiences when it comes to episode of In My. Now, first of all, I want to state that going into next month, there will be a week where I will not be doing any lives. And that's basically the week of the 17th of August through the 21st. And that is because I will be away for a week. I will be in Chicago. Okay. Now, I will be airing shorts every day as I do. When it comes to live lives, I will not do because I want to take some time to relax, do some little sightseeing, and basically take a short sabbatical regarding lives. I will be sharing more information as it gets closer to that time. Speaking about time, how quickly the year has gone. We're already approaching the end of July, which means, of course, for children, being, getting close to the time to return to school, where many children are not happy. The parents, depending on how their situation, they are overjoyed because they've been with the children. Well, of course, if you done so, I would encourage all of you, whether you decide to go away or whether you decide to stay in your local cities, make sure that you spend some time for yourself. Um, Now, sometimes people may not want to take vacation time because they may not want may be able to get away. As far as you can see, there are shows that you can see, there are restaurants that you can dine. So there are many activities that you can do. And I would encourage all of you to make sure that you take your vacation time. Devote time for yourself, to relax. Devote times for you to unwind. Devote time for you to spend some time doing some things that you would like to do. Okay? Because we all need time away from the job from time to time. And with that being said, we're going to go to the main topic. Let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding the topic at hand, then of course I'm going to state this disclaimer. Chat or on panel or even spoken to you offline. You do not need the camera. If you wish to cam up, that's perfectly fine. However, if I never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you cam up on the backstage and make sure that no one tries to load any adult images which would cause the people of YouTube to take down their stream. Unfortunately, there are certain individuals that try to put low pornographic images for whatever reason, because they have issues or what have you, or whether to create embarrassment. So that's the reason why, and I will continue to air this disclaimer on all my lives. Now, why do relationships end? There are many reasons why. Okay, sometimes it's caused by one party, where one party is constantly engaged in behavior that the other party does not like, and after a certain length of time, where the behavior does not change, where one party may decide to end the relationship. Other times it may be mutually agreeable. Okay, maybe what they are seeking is not being fulfilled. So part what I'm going to talk about is basically my own personal experiences. Now, I have had people who have dumped me, there were, of course, there were believe they have legit reasons why cannot be fulfilled, or issues where there have been certain behaviors where I have tried to resolve um, with the other person, and the other person, for whatever reason, um, choose to not address the issues. And sometimes it's just, if let's say it's, necessary, it brings about the need to end the relationship. A great deal of emotional involvement from one party or both parties. And of course, sometimes we, treat it as a mourning period because a romantic relationship has ended. And of course, at times it could be painful. So how do you survive the breakup? First of all, I think we need to be brutally honest with ourselves. The relationship to end. Is this now? Sometimes we ourselves are the ones that are responsible for the relationship ending. And excuse me, my apologies. It's just that the people. It's just that that's people that just love yelling, screaming, shout outside. And of course, in the summertime, I'm not gonna close the window because then I can't breathe. Uh, at times, the ending can be very painful, particularly when you devote a lot of time and effort. Also, sometimes during the breakup, it can get very, very messy. And what it does leave scars. So, one thing I would encourage anyone before you get into another romantic relationship, first of all, you need to do an assessment. Was it something that was mutually caused by both parties? Okay. So one thing I would never encourage anyone to do is get involved with someone on the rebound. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because what happens is, if you try to pursue another romantic relationship before you had a chance to heal, what happens is you're gonna base everything on the previous relationship. So what's gonna happen is it's gonna create a perspective which is a false narrative. Number two, carnage into the relationship, and you're gonna base certain assumptions. Um, my apologies. It's just that some people just love to crank up the. So let me just break it. I'm just gonna mute myself for a moment. Okay, my apologies. So what happens is if you try to pursue another romantic relationship without you trying to heal your scars, what's going to happen is you're going to base everything on that relationship, and you're going to make an unfair assessment on your partner or potential partner. Not only that, okay, and unfortunately, individuals, both male and female, what they have done is that they base everything on what happened in the past. Now the question is always, how long should it be before they enter into a relationship? So case by case situation. What I will say is, if you had a messy breakup, you know, issues where people were arguing and fighting and accusations of infidelity, I would say give yourself a considerable length of time before you pursue another romantic relationship. Allow yourself the time that you need to heal. It could take weeks, it can take months, but whatever it is, make sure that you give yourself the time that you need to heal. Now, I happen to know someone, this person is going to remain nameless, that unfortunately this individual has had of once a relationship ending, automatically she needs to heal. So what is the consequences is that person is basing everything on this on a improper point of view based on the experiences that they had with that person. And of course, I have tried to counsel that person that before you get into another romantic relationship, first of all, allow yourself to heal. Number one. Number two, make sure um, what that person looks on the outside. Um, Also, try to seek someone that have similar values, that have similar, that, okay, that look at things with a perspective similar to you. Now, I'm not saying that that person has to be as to have look at things completely the same way that you do, but have similar views, have similar values. Okay. I, I'll give you. Okay. I'll give you case in point, then you should seek someone that has similar values. Um, if you have certain perspectives when it comes to relationships, it will help if that you're trying to find somebody that has those similar values. Because what the problem is, sometimes when we find somebody, whether it be out of desperation or maybe we have the belief that we can alter their behavior, we can alter their outlook. And what happens is we base everything on a false narrative, which is why I truly believe is that when a relationship ends, that you give yourself time to heal. You give yourself time to reflect as far as what happened, why the relationship ended, and be completely honest. What if it was because of behavior that you did? Be brutally honest with yourself. So then for the next relationship does not end in failure. Now, if it's because of behavior, because of what the other person did, okay, then look at it as a learning experience. And it's nothing wrong with setting boundaries. Okay? Boundaries are certain, like, okay? Now, if you're the type of person that you know that you value uh, your self-esteem or your boundaries, and also you need to respect the boundaries of the other person as well. And also, one thing to bear in mind is that when it comes to relationship, um, how you define love, how you define fidelity, how you define accountability, that person may not hold. Realistically speaking, it's always better to seek those that share similar values. Now, it's okay to have some differences, okay? Some. However, if you base everything on the exterior, because, like, for example, if you are a male and you base everything on a woman that have a nice figure, okay, that's okay, but the problem is it's a nice figure and nothing when it comes to certain values. You're wasting your time. Of course, we as men, let's keep it real. Uh, we base everything, in the beginning on the exterior. The exterior is gonna, have a certain attraction. However, we need to get past the superficial of exterior and value those things that we seek in a relationship. And most importantly, when it comes to dating, we need to date with a purpose. And what do I purpose with a particular goal? Okay. Now, particularly if you're the type of person that's seeking a long-term relationship, which will lead to marriage, make it perfectly clear. Okay. Um, Not everyone is interested in a long-term relationship. Not everyone is interested in marriage. Well, it's always better to to state it from the beginning, so therefore there is no misunderstanding, there is no false expectations. Not everyone is everyone's cup of tea, and that's perfectly okay. It is best to be honest with yourself. Of course, we have a saying in Spanish, which is the following: Mejor que queda soltero en vez el mal acompañado, which literally translates to it is better to be alone than to be improperly united or involved with someone that does not share your values. And you have to have a certain amount who you will approach and who you will not approach. And it should be based on values that you um, certain expect, and of course there should be mutual respect when it comes to boundaries. Okay, because the last thing you want to do, people don't respect your boundaries, and then you don't respect their boundaries, because that's a recipe for failure. Okay, so while in the beginning we're going to be attract someone that looks nice, that has a figure, that has shoulders and things of that nature, that's natural. However, we need to get past the superficial, and then we need to be perfectly honest as far as what we seek and what type of person we value. Okay. And one thing we all have to understand, not everyone is seeking marriage. Not everyone is seeking a long-term relationship. There are certain people that unfortunately they are pursuing romantic relationship but for selfish reasons. And through proper discernment, that's going to you're going to see what type of people are trying to pursue a relationship, whether it be because of mutual interests or for selfish reasons. You don't need to be involved with a relationship with someone that does not value you, that does not appreciate you. And you need to be realistic as far as certain values. Another thing you need to be mindful, which is this. Like for example, I'm gonna give myself. I am an individual. In my 60s, speaking, I should not be pursuing someone that's in their 20s or their 30s or even their 40s, okay? Because their perspectives are going to be different. What you should do is seek someone that do show similar values that you have. Basically that they need to fit. What I will say is you need to be realistic. You need to be uh, objective and be mindful of the fact of what you seek and be perfectly honest with yourself and be perfectly honest that you wish to pursue romantic relationship. Now, I'm going to start to wrap this up. Now, I will be live tomorrow. Okay. Now, I'm going to try something that's a little unusual and a little unorthodox, which is basically do a live, okay, which is depending on your perspective, midnight on Friday, or actually midnight and early Saturday morning, with the idea of trying to create a certain audience, so to speak. This is something I don't usually do. You do need to, I do need to experiment at times. And of course, I will have a late issue episode of open discussion. And for those of you who are not familiar, I will discuss several topics where the audience, you, have an opportunity to opine. Also, if you have anything that topics that suggestions to me to discuss, you could state it in the chat. Now, if it's something that I don't have a great deal of knowledge about, I will be transparent. Also, there's certain things I will not discuss because unfortunately some people don't know how to discuss those topics with a level of maturity. Um, One thing I do encourage people to share their views, but I also have certain expectations, which is mutual respect for me and for all that share their views. This is not an echo chamber. People can disagree. What I do expect is to be agreeable when we disagree. Okay. Meaning, I have no problem with people having different views. What I do have a problem is when people are disrespectful to us. Mhm. And with that being said, of course, people, you know, make sure you can more than welcome to enter whatever comments after the live is over. Just as always, be respectable. Okay, disrespectful comments will be deleted and people will be denied access. And of course, I'm going to end the same way that I always end things. We must be mindful of the fact that not everyone can agree, and not everyone should have certain expectations. And of course, we must be mindful of the fact we must avoid the presence of the mentally of intellectually challenged, because unfortunately, if we fail to do so, will we be exposed to the mental inefficient people? And also, whatever we say and do, we should do to the glory of God. And with that being said, I will see you all next time. It will be on my main channel. It will be on early Saturday morning at 8 a.m. So with that being said, have a good night. Take care. Be blessed. And peace.
Be strong.